Wednesday, 2022, is not merely a spin-off of the Addams family lore, it is a reimagined Gothic odyssey centering on one of pop culture's most enigmatic and beloved characters, Wednesday Addams. Under the direction of Tim Burton and with the distinctive tone of Netflix's high-budget dark fantasy drama, Wednesday positions itself at the intersection of mystery, horror, teen drama, and supernatural world-building. The series opens with a shocking incident, Wednesday's retaliation against bullies using piranhas, setting the stage for a protagonist who refuses to conform to social norms and is unapologetically macabre. Jenna Ortega's performance is a revelation. Her ability to convey both deadpan sarcasm and underlying emotional depth creates a version of Wednesday that honors the character's heritage while reinventing her for a new generation. The first few episodes establish the Nevermore Academy, a Hogwarts-esque institution for outcasts, complete with cliques, centuries-old secrets, and a string of murders that throw the entire school into turmoil. Burton's signature visual style, twisted trees, exaggerated shadows, ornate costumes, saturates every frame, lending the show a painterly and surreal aesthetic. The combination of moody atmosphere, high school politics, and paranormal intrigue immediately sets Wednesday apart from typical YA dramas, signaling a bold new direction for the Addams universe. Cinem Addict. One of the core strengths of Wednesday lies in how it blends character-driven storytelling with an overarching murder mystery. While the show incorporates many of the familiar beats of a coming-of-age narrative, identity crises, first love, friendship dynamics, it filters them through a darker, more morbid lens that fits Wednesday's personality. Each supporting character at Nevermore Academy is crafted with layered complexity. Enid Sinclair, the pastel-colored werewolf roommate, is not just comic relief but a counterbalance to Wednesday's stoic nature, creating a sun and moon dynamic that blossoms into one of the show's most emotionally resonant friendships. Tyler Galpin, the charming barista with a hidden connection to the town's curse, and Xavier Thorpe, the brooding artist haunted by his prophetic visions, provide romantic subplots that add tension and mystery rather than cliché. The faculty, including Gwendoline Christie's Principal Weems, offer layers of duplicity and drama that deepen the narrative. Burton uses these characters not as simple background figures but as catalysts for Wednesday's growth, each representing a different moral or ideological challenge. As the season progresses, the murder mystery becomes more intricate, connecting the modern events at Nevermore to the Addams family's dark past. These revelations are slowly unraveled with careful pacing, allowing each twist to feel earned rather than forced. Cinem Addict. A major thematic through-line in Wednesday is the concept of outsider identity and the struggle for self-definition in a world that fears difference. Nevermore Academy may be a haven for the supernatural, housing sirens, gorgons, werewolves, and more, but even within this microcosm, hierarchy and prejudice exist. Wednesday, despite being among her kind, refuses to blend in. Her resistance is not just about being antisocial, it's a declaration of self-ownership. The show deftly explores how institutions meant to protect outsiders can still enforce conformity, and how the refusal to adapt can come with emotional costs. Her evolving relationship with her mother, Morticia Addams, played with grace by Catherine Zeta-Jones, brings these themes to the forefront. The tension between generational expectations and personal independence becomes a recurring motif, especially as Wednesday discovers that her mother's past at Nevermore holds more secrets than she let on. Burton injects this narrative with emotional tension without losing the show's signature sense of humor and irony. Even Wednesday's relationship with Thing, the disembodied hand, is explored with surprising depth, highlighting her need for loyalty and trust amidst the betrayals that surround her. Through this blend of supernatural metaphor and emotional realism, Wednesday crafts a narrative that resonates with anyone who has felt like an outsider in their own world. Cinem Addict. Visually and stylistically, Wednesday is a masterclass in aesthetic world-building. Every frame feels curated, from the sprawling Gothic spires of Nevermore Academy to the mist-shrouded woods of Jericho, the neighboring human town. The color palette leans into grayscale blacks, deep violets, and blood reds, reinforcing the show's tone while also offering visual metaphors for its characters' emotional states. Burton's influence is unmistakable, especially in the set design and practical effects, the poke-up competition with its ornate canoes, the grotesque raven dance set to the Cramps' Goo Goo Muck, and the haunting imagery of blood-stained visions that plague Wednesday's psychic powers. These aren't just flourishes for style's sake, they serve the narrative by emphasizing the thin line between beauty and horror. The show also uses costume design to reflect internal transformation. Wednesday's eventual shift from a rigid uniform to slightly softened silhouettes parallels her begrudging emotional evolution. The cinematography and editing employ noir-inspired techniques, like long tracking shots, slow pans, and abrupt cuts, enhancing the sense of dread and anticipation. Even the musical score, composed by Danny Elfman, underpins the gothic grandeur with its mix of classical piano, eerie choral arrangements, and whimsical violins. Every technical element converges to support the storytelling, making Wednesday not only engaging to watch but impossible to look away from. Cinem Addict. What distinguishes Wednesday from other young adult supernatural dramas is how it smartly balances serialized mystery with episodic development. Each episode adds a new piece to the central puzzle involving the Hyde monster and the legacy of Joseph Crackstone, while also offering standalone moments that build Wednesday's character arc. The writers weave mythological depth into the plot, incorporating references to pilgrim persecution, secret societies like the Nightshades, and ancient prophecies. These elements not only expand the lore of the Addams family universe but also connect to larger cultural themes about history, guilt, and justice. The clever narrative device of using Wednesday's psychic visions, fragmented, symbolic, and haunting, acts as a literary echo of Greek tragedy, where foresight often leads to self-fulfilling consequences. As she digs deeper into her parents' past and the school's origins, she begins to question her role not just as a student but as a force of reckoning. The dual settings of Nevermore and Jericho mirror each other in tone and theme, one seemingly magical, the other mundane, yet both harbor the same prejudices and secrets. This duality reinforces Wednesday's own inner conflict between empathy and cynicism. The script never panders to its audience, trusting viewers to piece together the mystery along with the protagonist. Such narrative confidence is rare in genre television and elevates Wednesday beyond mere teen horror. Cinem Addict. The series also excels in its nuanced portrayal of familial relationships, particularly the dynamic between Wednesday and her parents. Morticia and Gomez Addams are depicted with affection but also with a veil of mystery, especially as Wednesday uncovers hidden truths about their time at Nevermore. Their idyllic love story, long held as a symbol of eccentric romanticism, begins to show cracks when viewed through Wednesday's skeptical eyes. Her suspicion towards their past actions, especially regarding a mysterious death involving Garrett Gates, adds layers to her rebellion. This isn't the typical teenager defying authority, it's a young woman determined to separate truth from myth, no matter how uncomfortable it becomes. Meanwhile, Uncle Fester's arrival offers a brief but electrifying detour, reminding viewers of the family's chaotic charm. His kinetic energy and unfiltered honesty offer comedic relief while reinforcing the idea that the Addamses, for all their quirks, value loyalty above all. What's striking is that Wednesday never vilifies or glorifies the parents. It portrays them as fallible individuals navigating their own generational burdens. This honest depiction of family, full of love, secrets, and generational trauma, gives the show emotional resonance that anchors its supernatural flights. As Wednesday comes to terms with her inherited gifts and legacy, she also confronts the realization that she is not as isolated as she believes. There is strength in chosen vulnerability. Cinem Addict. Performance-wise, Wednesday delivers a cast that is perfectly in sync with the tone and texture of the narrative. Jenna Ortega's portrayal of Wednesday is a career-defining role, managing to honor the deadpan sarcasm immortalized by Christina Ricci while adding a fresh intensity and modern emotional range. Ortega's commitment is visible in every micro-expression, every deliberately slow blink, and every line delivered with razor-sharp precision. Emma Myers as Enid offers a surprising emotional core, her rainbow wardrobe and bubbly optimism contrasting yet harmonizing with Ortega's darkness. Their relationship becomes the heartbeat of the show, a sisterhood forged not by similarity but by shared understanding. Percy Hines White's Xavier, Hunter Doohan's Tyler, and Joy Sunday's Bianca all present multidimensional characters with their own arcs, ambitions, and secrets, creating a layered supporting cast that's more than mere plot devices. Gwendoline Christie commands every scene as Principal Weems, blending authority, mystery, and elegance with effortless charisma. Even Christina Ricci, returning in a new role as Ms. Thornhill, gives a meta-performance that plays with audience expectations in clever and chilling ways. The casting is not just about star power, it's about synergy. Each actor fits seamlessly into the world, contributing to a rich ensemble dynamic that allows Wednesday to explore complex interpersonal narratives without ever feeling overcrowded. Cinem Addict. Beyond its plot and performances, Wednesday is a commentary on what it means to be different in a world increasingly defined by conformity. The show doesn't just tokenize diversity, it builds a world in which being different is the norm, and yet even in such a world, true individuality is still a challenge. The supernatural abilities of Nevermore students serve as metaphors for real-world marginalization, and Wednesday's refusal to bend to expectations, academic, romantic, familial, makes her an icon of resistance. The series also challenges gender roles in subtle but powerful ways. Wednesday is a female protagonist who is not softened for the sake of relatability. She is not likable in the traditional TV sense, she is brilliant, blunt, emotionally reserved, and morally unflinching. And yet, her journey is one of vulnerability. She learns to care, to trust, and to fight not just against injustice but for the people she cares about. Even the central mystery of the hide, symbolizing repressed rage and identity, echoes the monstrous expectations society places on individuals to hide their true selves. The show's refusal to wrap up its narrative in tidy moral conclusions is a testament to its maturity. It acknowledges that real growth comes from discomfort, that justice is often messy, and that embracing one's shadow side can be a source of strength rather than shame. Wednesday is not just entertainment, it's myth-making for the misunderstood. Cinem Addict. The visual tone of Wednesday stands out as one of its most defining characteristics. Director Tim Burton's signature style is evident in the show's aesthetic, Gothic architecture, muted color palettes, and surreal cinematography that all contribute to an eerie yet beautiful world. The contrast between Nevermore Academy's otherworldly charm and the dreariness of Jericho amplifies the narrative tension. The attention to detail in costume design further enhances character storytelling. Wednesday's consistent black and white attire reflects her rigid persona, while Enid's vivid wardrobe communicates emotional openness and internal conflict. These visual choices are never random, they are deeply tied to character arcs. Cinematographer David Lanzenberg's work deserves particular praise, especially in how he uses shadow and symmetry to emphasize mood, suspense, and psychological depth. The use of practical effects where possible, notably in the hide scenes, offers a refreshing alternative to over-reliance on CGI, grounding the fantastical in something tangible. Even the school interiors, from the stained glass to the portraits on the walls, are loaded with symbolic value, hinting at secrets from the past. Lighting, too, plays a crucial role, with chiaroscuro effects evoking classic horror cinema while also reinforcing the moral ambiguity of the narrative. It's a world where darkness is not only literal but philosophical, and beauty emerges from embracing that shadow. Cinem Addict. Musically, Wednesday excels at creating a sonic identity that is both haunting and playful. Composers Danny Elfman and Chris Bacon blend classical orchestration with modern elements to reflect the show's timeless yet youthful tone. The harpsichord and string arrangements evoke Baroque eeriness, while subtle electronic textures hint at modern anxiety and adolescent emotion. One of the most iconic musical moments is Wednesday's cello performance in the schoolyard, set to a rock arrangement of Paint It Black. This scene is not just stylistically impressive but narratively powerful, it underscores her rebellion and individuality. Music is used sparingly but effectively throughout the series, often signaling key emotional beats or plot revelations. Silence, too, is weaponized. Moments of stillness build tension and draw the viewer deeper into Wednesday's psyche. The soundtrack walks a fine line between homage and innovation. It tips its hat to old horror scores while crafting something uniquely its own. What's particularly effective is how the music doesn't dictate emotion, it enhances it. It allows Wednesday's dry delivery and the story's emotional nuances to breathe without being overshadowed by melodrama. The result is a soundscape that is as memorable as the visuals and performances, sealing Wednesday's place as an audiovisual triumph. Cinem Addict. One of the most compelling aspects of Wednesday is its thematic exploration of identity and transformation. At its core, the series is about self-discovery, how people construct, suppress, or redefine who they are. Wednesday begins the series armored in detachment and cynicism, determined to navigate the world on her own terms. But her encounters with others, whether it's forming a fragile trust with Enid, confronting her parents' legacy, or grappling with Tyler's betrayal, force her to reconsider the value of emotional connection. Even the antagonist, Laurel Gates, posing as Miss Thornhill, is driven by a twisted sense of heritage and purpose. Everyone in the show is chasing a version of themselves. Bianca wants to escape her siren mother's manipulations, Xavier seeks validation beyond his psychic abilities, and Principal Weems masks vulnerability with authority. These layered journeys create a tapestry of characters who, like Wednesday, must confront their inner monsters to evolve. The metaphor of the hide and uncontrollable, hidden persona resonates on a symbolic level. It asks, what do we bury within ourselves, and what happens when it surfaces? Through this lens, Wednesday becomes a philosophical narrative disguised as supernatural teen drama. Cinem Addict. The series also taps into modern cultural anxieties, surveillance, institutional corruption, social alienation, and weaves them into its fantastical world. Jericho's Pilgrim Celebration feels like a critique of revisionist history and the sanitization of oppression. The town's deep-rooted fear of never more students mirrors real-world xenophobia, where the other is viewed with suspicion and hostility. The Nightshade's secret society, once a symbol of elitism, becomes a vehicle for examining exclusivity and performative activism. Even the school itself, though a sanctuary, is not free from bias and manipulation. Wednesday shows how institutions often fail the very people they claim to protect, and how rebellion, though risky, is sometimes the only path to truth. These social undercurrents give the show a relevance that transcends its fictional setting. Yet, despite these heavy themes, the series never loses its sense of fun. The tone remains agile, shifting between humor, horror, and heart with remarkable ease. It's this tonal dexterity that makes Wednesday such a compelling watch. It refuses to be confined by genre conventions. Like its heroine, the show is a genre bender, a boundary breaker, and a breath of fresh air in an increasingly homogenized media landscape. Cinem Addict. Wednesday Addams herself becomes an icon not just of goth subculture but of a new kind of feminist protagonist. She is intellectually superior, emotionally complex, and morally autonomous. Unlike many female leads who are softened to appeal to broad audiences, Wednesday is allowed to be sharp, strange, and even off-putting. Her integrity is her most powerful trait. She never compromises who she is for acceptance. This makes her journey of personal growth all the more meaningful. When she does open up, it feels earned. It's not about changing who she is. It's about expanding the capacity of her identity. She remains cynical but gains compassion. She remains blunt but learns diplomacy. This layered character development positions Wednesday as a modern role model not because she is perfect, but because she refuses to be anything but herself. In an age of filtered realities and curated personas, her rawness is revolutionary. Ortega's performance ensures that this character will be studied, referenced, and admired for years to come. And as audiences increasingly demand depth and nuance from their protagonists, Wednesday delivers with sophistication and style. Cinem Addict. Wednesday, 2022, is a masterclass in adaptation, a cultural artifact that will resonate for years. It redefines what a young adult series can be, blending horror, mystery, and comedy with emotional intelligence and social commentary. It offers a heroine who is not sanitized or simplified but celebrated in all her complex glory. With stellar performances, a compelling narrative, and exquisite production values, the show proves that entertainment and art are not mutually exclusive. It invites us to embrace the parts of ourselves that don't fit the mold, to question what we're told, and to find strength in difference. For longtime fans of the Addams family, it is a loving tribute. For newcomers, it is a bold entry point. For everyone, it is an unforgettable experience. Wednesday is not just a show, it's a statement. A reminder that being different isn't a weakness, it's a superpower. And in that darkness, there is beauty. Cinem Addict.